Shipping company gives employees 30-month salary as mid-year bonus. Saudi Arabia cuts production to boost oil prices. Universal basic income of £1,600 a month to be trialed in England. United Nations, alarmed by Hong Kong June 4th detentions. HK journalist wins appeal in court ruling upholding media freedom. Philippines raises Mayon Volcano's alert. Poland's opposition brings hundreds of thousands onto streets. Germany to send 2 warships to the Indo-Pacific in 2024.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Tuesday, June 6th, and here are your top stories. Bloomberg reported that Taiwanese shipping company Yangming Marine Transport Corp. Is awarding workers up to 30-month salary on their next payday after shareholders approved a 2.3 billion NT dollar round of bonuses last Friday. Yangming said in an email to Bloomberg that company rules dictate the shipping firm must distribute 1% of its previous year's profit to employees as compensation. Bloomberg said that's in addition to a year-end bonus worth 12 months of salary paid at the beginning of this year.
Bloomberg reported that Evergreen Marine Corp. will give its 3,100 employees another 1.9 billion new Taiwan dollars, equivalent to around 12 months of pay, after shareholders approved the bonuses at a meeting last Tuesday. Shipping firms have enjoyed a windfall over the past 2 years on an industry-wide surge in demand for consumer goods and freight rates during COVID. But Bloomberg said Evergreen's net income is expected to plunge 94% this year to 18.6 billion new Taiwan dollars. Yangming is forecast to see profit fall 99% to 2.2 billion new Taiwan dollars.
Saudi Arabia and OPEC heavyweight decided on Sunday to make a further cut in production in the hope of boosting slumping oil prices against an economic backdrop overshadowed by the war in Ukraine. Saudi Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman told a press conference at the end of a meeting in Vienna of the 13 members of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, as well as their 10 allies led by Russia. This voluntary reduction of around 1 million barrels a day will start from July and may be extended.
Russian Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak told journalists that the cuts introduced at the beginning of May by 9 countries, including Riyadh and Moscow, that total around 1.6 million barrels per day, have been extended until the end of 2024. The media said Moscow would hardly benefit from higher oil prices. As a result of Western sanctions, only Russian oil priced at $60 or less can continue to be delivered. On the other hand, Saudi Arabia needs higher prices to balance its budget.
A universal basic income of £1,600 a month is to be trialed in England for the first time in a pilot program. 30 people will be paid a lump sum without conditions each month for 2 years and will be observed to understand the effects on their lives. 2 places in England have been selected for the micro-pilot scheme, Central Jarrow in northeast England and East Finchley in North London. The participants will be monitored to see what effect it has on their mental and physical health.
Will Strong, the director of research at the think tank Autonomy, said the £1,600 figure is a substantial amount. We want to see what effect this unconditional lump sum has on people's mental and physical health, whether they choose to work or not. He added, our society is going to require some form of basic income in the coming years. This is why building the evidence base and public engagement now is so important, so the ground is well prepared for national implementation.
The United Nations said on Monday it was alarmed by detentions in Hong Kong linked to the 34th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square crackdown. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights called on Twitter for the release of anyone detained for exercising freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. Hong Kong public broadcaster RTHK said that all 23 people detained on Sunday for breaching the peace and public order offenses were not arrested and were later released.
Hong Kong police said they detained 23 people on Sunday for breaching public peace, and also arrested a 53-year-old woman for obstructing police officers on the anniversary of the violent suppression of pro-democracy protests in Beijing in 1989. Hong Kong activists say such police action is part of a broader campaign by China to crush dissent in the city that was promised continued freedoms for 50 years under a one country, two systems model when former colonial ruler Britain handed it back in 1997.
I always needed time on my own. I never thought I could be here.
I take your blessings with your heartaches too. It's so easy and so wonderful to know it's you.
学习，一切从今天开始。Funday 英语。
A Hong Kong journalist won an appeal related to work on her investigative documentary Monday. Judges of the city's top court unanimously ruled in Choi's favor in a written judgment, quashing her conviction and setting aside the sentence. The judgment read, the issues of falsity and knowledge were wrongly decided against the appellant because her journalistic investigation into the use of the vehicle on the dates in question did fall into the white catch-all category of other traffic and transport-related matters.
Bao Choi was found guilty in April 2021 of deceiving the government by getting vehicle ownership records for journalistic purposes after she had declared in her online application that she would use the information for other traffic and transport-related issues. Choi was fined 6,000 Hong Kong dollars for 2 counts of making false statements at that time. The story Choi co-produced, titled 7.21 Who Owns the Truth, won the Chinese-language documentary award at the Human Rights Press Awards in 2021.
The Philippines on Monday raised the alert level on Mayon Volcano south of Manila due to increasing unrest and advised the public to stay out of its 6-kilometer radius danger zone. The Volcanology Institute placed Mayon Volcano under Alert Level 2 in a 5-step scale, as it warned that the current unrest could lead to blasts of steam or even precede hazardous magmatic eruption. The institute added an increase in rockfall from the volcano's summit lava dome has been observed since late April.
The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology said a total of 318 rockfall events have been recorded by the Mayon Volcano network since April 1, while 26 volcanic earthquakes have been recorded for the same period. Alert Level 2 means that there is current unrest driven by shallow magmatic processes that could eventually lead to phreatic eruptions or even precede hazardous magmatic eruptions. State seismologists advised the public to refrain from entering the volcano's permanent danger zone.
Hundreds of thousands of protesters gathered in Warsaw on Sunday, the 34th anniversary of Poland's first post-war democratic election, for a march the liberal opposition has built as a test of its ability to end nearly 8 years of nationalist rule later this year. Crowds stretching for at least a mile marched with banners reading, "Free European Poland, European Union yes, PIS no," referring to the governing Law and Justice Party. Thousands also marched in other Polish cities and towns,
saying no to the government of Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki.
Opinion polls show an election due after the summer will be closely fought, with Russia's war in neighboring Ukraine giving a boost to the PiS government, which has emerged as a leading voice against the Kremlin in Europe. The opposition has struggled to galvanize support despite widespread criticism at home and abroad of the PiS, which has been accused of eroding the rule of law, turning state media into a government mouthpiece, and endorsing homophobia.
German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said on Sunday Germany will send 2 warships to the Indo-Pacific in 2024. Speaking at the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore, Pistorius said countries needed to stand up for the rules-based international order and the protection of major maritime passages. He said, to this end, the German federal government sent a frigate to the Indo-Pacific in 2021 and will again in 2024 deploy maritime assets, this time a frigate and a supply ship to the region.
One thing security experts say to expect will be a U.S. refocus to the Indo-Pacific.
Pistorius added the deployments were not directed against any nation, a remark apparently addressed at China. He said, to the contrary, they are dedicated to the protection of the rules-based international order that we all signed up to and which we all should benefit from. be it in the Mediterranean, in the Bay of Bengal, or in the South China Sea. In 2021, a German warship sailed into the South China Sea for the first time in almost 20 years, a move that expanded its military presence in the region.
Now let's take a look at the vocabulary of the news of universal basic income of £1,600 to be trialed in England. Number 1, trial, 对能力、品质、性能等的试验试用. She agreed to employ me for a trial period. Number 2, a lump sum, 一次总付的钱款. He paid for his car in one lump sum. Number 3, scheme, 计划方案体制体系. The scheme has been set up to help homeless people. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.